Hey guys, Bunny here. Now I want to show you something different. My whole life, I've enjoyed watching and reading list videos. I used to read through Listiverse religiously as a kid, to the point where I could probably just rattle off a lot of top 10 lists off my head. Top 10 poisonous plants, that was one that I really enjoyed reading from listiverse.com. Could still remember that from like 10 years ago. Yeah, but basically, I love me some soundtrack. Soundtrack, I think, can be the make or break for a lot of games, specifically horror games. If you don't have the right soundtrack, horror games could be the difference between laughing at a horror game and being scared by a horror game. Yeah, these are my top 10 soundtracks of all time, I guess. So, first one, Crypt of the Necrodancer. This is by Danny Baranowski, I believe is how you pronounce that. I could be wrong. I love the Crypt of the Necrodancer soundtrack. It's one of the biggest things about it is that they're all different genres. Each like stage is a different genre, with the same kind of instruments to kind of help drag you to the next stage without having to be like, oh, you've gone from metal to classical kind of stuff, because the instruments are the same, but like the tone is different. You slowly like drift into it rather than getting like out of place every time you jump into a new level. My only con with it is the vocal instruments. I gotta say, listening to the soundtrack after playing the game, the vocal elements put you out of it if you're just listening to the soundtrack and you're not playing it, because the vocal elements are good for the actual gameplay but not great for the music. So I would have loved for that album that is out from the actual game to just get rid of the vocal instruments, but it's fine. My favorite song is Cryptek. This is the second stage of the first dungeon, I guess you could call it. I think it's just eerier than the rest of them, and I love me some eerie music that kind of like puts you on edge. Yeah, so that's the first on this list. Second on the list is Doom 2016. If there is a gamer alive that hasn't put Doom 2016 on their top 10 soundtracks list of all time, they're very much wrong. Mick Gordon is the creator of the Doom 2016 soundtrack. The fact that Doom as a game can be attributed to this music, like if you hear this music, you instantly know it's Doom. I was actually in a live stream at some point, like watching someone else play, and I heard Doom come on, and instantly I was just like, that's Doom. I didn't know the song initially, but as soon as I heard it, you could just go, that is Doom, that's Doom. I'm currently in my brain am crushing the skulls of demons. And that is exactly what you want from a soundtrack. Something that you can listen to it and instantly go, this is the soundtrack to the game. Like, even if I played Doom silently, if I heard the soundtrack, I would go, that's perfect for Doom. Because it is. And I think that's very, very important. My favorite song from Doom, it was actually kind of hard. They do have very similar songs. It's kind of like an hour, 2 hours of the same song, like with a little bit of difference in them, honestly. But the Flesh and Metal song, so like there's like a 1 minute song called At Doom's Gate, right? I think Flesh and Metal kind of feels like that song, but extended to the point where you've got a really big build up and then explosion of blood and guts. So it would have been At Doom's Gate, but it was only a minute long, and so I'm like, it's not the whole song. Flesh and Metal though is At Doom's Gate but longer, which I think is the best part. You get more demon crushing, gut ripping song. And I think that's important. Third on this list is the Age of Mythology soundtrack. Now, I don't know how many people play Age of Mythology, but everyone I know is like, Age of Empires is the best Age of anything game. Age of Mythology, for some reason, not as many people, I guess, played, and I don't know why, because I've played Age of Empires and I think it's crap. Age of Mythology is better than Age of Empires in every single way. If you don't think that, you're wrong. No. I mean, it's mostly a nostalgia thing for Age of Empires and Age of Mythology, I think, but the Age of Mythology soundtrack, I think it's just so fun. They had fun with it. One thing that I can say from the Age of Mythology soundtrack, so I actually had the disc as a kid, and I listened to the disc. I'm a bit old. I had an MP3 player, and I had the Age of Mythology soundtrack on it from that disc. And I think my favorite thing was the people who made the soundtrack did not give a shit. All of the titles of the songs have nothing to do with the actual game, I would say. For one thing, the main theme of Age of Mythology is called A Cat Named Mittens. Has that got anything to do with anything in the game? No, it's just called A Cat Named Mitten. They just named them whatever the fuck they wanted, I'm guessing, because they didn't think anyone would actually listen to it. As opposed, like, after the game. Like, they would play the game, and then no one would listen to it, is, like, I'm assuming the thought process that went into that. Well, I listened. So the Age of Mythology soundtrack is by Stephen Rippey and Kevin McCullen. I don't know which one wrote my favorite song. Favorite song is definitely Suit Yourself. It's a little bit more intense. It's not like a boss fight intense. It's like just a bit more intense to know that you gotta start building stuff up real quickly or you're gonna die kind of thing. Honorable mentions, however, goes to Chocolate Outline because it's, I don't know, it's if you wanna like do some like study, I guess, Chocolate Outline helps just relax you a little bit, but you get that like tiny bit of focus. Like it picks up a little bit, but it's just enough to kind of like relax you and focus you, I think. Before I go to the next part of the list, I would like to say that the tracks all have kind of a lot of Foley kind of stuff hidden in it that makes it sound like people are doing work, and it's part of the beat. Like they use it as a beat, as an instrument, but it kind of makes you feel like you're, you know, constructing stuff. Like in the song, people are constructing stuff as you are in the game, and I think that's really important to kind of bring you into the world of Age of Mythology. It drags you in, and I like that. I love when songs drag you into the game. Hyperlight Drifter is the fourth on this list. This is made by Disaster Piece, which is a lovely name. It's a bit lo-fi. There's just kind of like pixelated stuff. It's not crazy. There isn't too much deviation in between the songs, but the actual elements there, just, I don't know, there's something about them. Now, I want to preface this by I haven't finished Hyperlight Drifter. I listened to the soundtrack more than I've played the game by far. I think I finished the like first kind of mountain that you get to, the first kind of like big boss fight in that mountain, and I never finished the other 2-3 mountains, I think they are. Look, see, I haven't played that. I haven't actually even opened it. I don't even have it downloaded to finish it. But I love the music. The music is one of my favorite soundtracks, obviously. It's perfect for study, which I don't do that much study, I'll be honest. But if you're doing anything intensive, like if I'm editing, I can have that in the background and we'll just kind of, I'll like kind of listen to it. It'll focus me, I think, which is important. I think that The Last General is my favorite song because it's so dissimilar from the rest. It's a lot more intense, which I think makes it stand out from the rest of the soundtrack. Not necessarily makes it better than the rest of the soundtrack, but it just standed out to me. Fifth on this list, Hollow Knight. Soundtrack by Christopher Larkin. Hollow Knight soundtrack is nice. Similar to Hyperlight Drifter in that it's a very kind of, there isn't much going on a lot of the time, but the difference between Hollow Knight and Hyperlight Drifter is that Hollow Knight, there's not much going on until a boss fight happens. But they have a whole orchestra going down, but it's very quiet until you're under stress, and then it just ramps up that stress real fast to like you're kind of chill, you're focused, you're paying attention to the beats, and then as soon as the boss battle comes on, instantly you're stressed to the shit and you're gonna lose, you're gonna miss every single thing, you're gonna get hit so many times because you're stressed as hell. My favorite song would be Mantis Lords because it's, so another important thing about the boss fights is they're very character driven. Like if you heard the songs, we could have played a game with this actually, but if you wanted to have a songs play and then go, which boss fight does these songs connect to? I reckon you could connect all of them if you played Hollow Knight on Silent, because they're very connected to the characters. Like Hornet is very kind of fast paced, very buzzy, I guess. Mantis Lords, there's a lot happening because there's a lot happening in the boss fight. It's just, they all fit incredibly well, and I think the composer here did a really good job with that. So yeah, Mantis Lords, favorite song from the album, but definitely check out the Hollow Knight OST if you haven't played the game, or just play the game. Number 6 on the list. So this is a very big nostalgia boner kind of answer for this. A lot of people haven't played this game, a lot of people have never heard of this game, but Altered Beast. I'm pretty sure it was actually came out long before the Sega Mega Drive did. I'm pretty sure it was like on arcade machines, that's what they're called. It was on arcade machines, and then it was ported to Sega Mega Drive at some point, or even original Sega, I don't know. It's still kind of one of my fave games to just go back to and play for a little bit, because it's one of those level games where you just kind of get high scores and stuff. The soundtrack is by Toru Nakabayashi? Nekabayashi. I'm not sure how to say that. I'm sorry. The name will be flashed on screen, hopefully. Now, my favorite song from this is the boss theme. I know it's very boring answer, the boss theme, and they seem to be boss themes all the way around, but the boss theme for this is so intense that you get so stressed out, and there isn't even that much happening in a lot of the boss fights, like compared to modern game boss fights. It just feels scarier because of the boss theme. Honorable mention to the round 2 theme. I don't think they have names. I think the soundtrack was never kind of released. It's interesting. It's very eerie compared to the rest of the game. The rest of the game's kind of like got that ancient Greek vibe, I guess you could call it. Whereas the round 2 theme is just intense, eerie. You feel scared. Number 7 on the list, Warhammer 40k Dawn of War 2. Now, this is kind of a nostalgia type deal. I never played Dawn of War 1, unlike a lot of my friends. I played it after I played Dawn of War 2, and I felt that Dawn of War 2 was more my style. The soundtrack is by Doyle W. Donahue. I don't know if that's how you say it. It's got a similar kind of stuff to Doom. It uses a lot of heavy beats to kind of, you know that this is brutal. This is a brutal game. It's not like a sci-fi where everything's like tech and you don't kind of have to worry about that. You know, everything's smooth and stuff. It's like you're beating the shit out of someone with your bare hands, even though you have a technologically advanced laser rifle. You're still gonna be whacking them with the butt of your gun. You're still gonna be using your chain blade to murder them. Where did the chains on like chainsaw on everything in sci-fi come from? But yeah, love me some Warhammer 40k Dawn of War 2 soundtracks. I've listened to it a lot during school, like while I was actually studying, doing homework as a small baby bunny. My favorite song is No Mercy No Respite. Now, the song obviously sounds very similar to like a Doom 2016 and a OST. It's just this is a fight scene. This is a battle scene. Obviously, it's a lot more instrumental than Doom 2016 stuff is. There's a lot more kind of happening as far as orchestral stuff, but there is that heavy beat in the background which kind of gets you ready to fight. I didn't know whether to include this. This is my favorite song in the soundtrack, I would say, but it's also a remix of other songs, and it isn't by the same person who wrote the rest of the stuff. Meridian Nights, Grimdark remix. It's fucking oof. If you don't want to listen to soundtracks, you don't want to listen to orchestral music, listen to Meridian Nights remix by Nubi Nubenson, I believe it's called. It's not included in the Dawn of War OST for a lot of places, but I got it with my game because it was a Game of the Year edition, and it included it in a Game of the Year edition, but not the original soundtrack. So a lot of the OST doesn't include it as a song. You can't find it on Spotify. You can only find the rest of the Dawn of War 2 soundtrack. It's awesome. It's 10 out of 10. Number 8, Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire OST. This is another, when I think of Pokemon, this is the songs that come into my head. Now, people who wrote this is a person who wrote, I think, every Pokemon OST known to man. I don't know how to say their name, so I'm not gonna try and butcher it. The name will pop up here on the screen, hopefully. If it doesn't, you can look it up yourself, but I'm not gonna butcher this name because it's definitely gonna happen. Favorite song from the Pokemon Sapphire and Ruby OST, and Emerald, I guess, is the Rustboro Moorville theme. There's another town as well. They're all like, there's a theme for a few towns rather than one town, which is weird to me. But the reason that I specify Rustboro and Moorville is because I spent a lot of my time in the game in Rustboro and Moorville, which is why it sticks out to me. When I hear it, I'm just like, oh yeah, Pokemon Sapphire. Number 9, Subnautica. As you know, I have a big Subnautica playlist. Watch that if you haven't already. And Subnautica, it's really good. The soundtrack by Simon Chilinsky, I believe is how you say it. It's very electronic, so you kind of get that you're in like a sci-fi kind of thing, but there are just these kind of like backbeats to it that make you think like, there's something else here. And there almost always is in this game. You look behind you, and there's another fucking Leviathan chasing you down, and you've either got to run or accept being eaten. My favorite song is Ghosts, and it's for that exact reason. It starts off, the song starts off with this kind of eerie, just like it sounds like a horror movie in like a ghost infested house. It's eerie, you expect something to come around the corner and chase you, and then the song kind of builds up to what sounds like an eerie chase scene. That's just how it builds. And so it gets more intense and you get more scared as the song goes on. And I think that's really important, especially the song is called Ghosts. It helps you understand where their kind of inspiration came from, I guess. It's very good. The whole soundtrack is very good. There's so many songs in it as well, so you never really get bored. The 10th soundtrack and our last one for the list, Risk of Rain. It's one of those kind of indie-ish games. Risk of Rain 2 has come out not too long ago. It's in early access, and I play a lot on stream. This isn't a plug. The reason I put Risk of Rain on the soundtrack is because I've been playing Risk of Rain 2 a lot, and that's why. It's by Chris Christodoulou, and I think that Risk of Rain 2 OST is the same as number 1. I'm not certain, but they're very similar soundtracks. My favorite song from Risk of Rain 1, however, is Aurora Borealis, and I think it's just because it's the most intense song on the list. It starts really intense and then it slows down a bit and then it gets more intense again. It's just a crazy soundtrack. Risk of Rain, the game, is just it's one of those games where you play it and there is story that you can find, but it is just kind of an arcade style game. And I think they're the best for these kind of things because you will play them over and over again. You'll hear the same songs over and over again and you'll associate them with certain maps. That's it for my list. We got some pixel, we got some arcade stuff. We got some Game Boy Advance type stuff. We got some indie, like a fair few indie things, honestly. And we've got some like high class, like Doom 2016 kind of stuff has a huge backing. It's a good little mixture of songs that I think you guys would enjoy. Definitely check out all the soundtracks if you enjoyed my description of them. I'm sure I've been playing some of the soundtracks behind me while it's been going on. Hopefully I've been playing every favorite song as it comes on, so you guys will know my favorite song and will know that it's the best song ever. I will see you in the next one. Keep an eye out for more video game content, potentially more lists, potentially more games, potentially more just weird shit. I want to do some more stuff than just playing Let's Plays, and I think this is a good start. So I'll see you in the next one. Bunny out.